Hi, let's see how we can affect some bones in this movie. Let's see how we can make some brittle bones. So what I'm going to do is just hide everything else except the skeletal system. So let's just use the V's over here for visible. So let's make them invisible. And let's turn off our wireframe on shaded right now. So let's say I'm going to go to one of the, let's say the T12 bones over here. So let's select that and let's go to display, hide, and let's quickly hide the rest. Actually, let's just go to slightly different over here. Let's go to edit, invert selection, and let's say display, hide, selection. So I have this T12 bone right now, and if I go and quickly, let's go really close to it and render it right now. You can see that right now nothing's showing. That's because my lights are hidden. So quickly go back to our outliner and select these two lights and go to display, show, selection. So let's render this one more time. So if that ever happens, just make sure that your lights are not hidden. So it's got some kind of material right now, and we're going to change this. So let's go back to our rendering editors, window, rendering editors, Hypershade. And quickly go and I just have the work area showing right now because I've clicked on this button. So normally this button is pressed, the fourth one, which shows you the top and the bottom area. So I'll quickly click on with the bone over there, selected. And let's click on this button, which is graph materials on selected objects. So it nicely shows up over here. And you can see again, it's a pretty nicely detailed map. It's got a fractal, it's got noise with the ramp and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new one. So let's make a new Phong right now. And let's just apply this Phong, middle mouse button, drag and drop it on this guy. And let's quickly clear graph and then again select this object over here and say graph materials on the selected object. Let's give ourselves some room over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to simply use a 2D texture and I'm going to use a simple noise right now. Let's go to noise. And before we apply the noise, let's quickly render this. It should be simply gray, just checking on that, so it is. And let's also change the background color. I don't like it to be black right now. So let's go to view and let's go to the second button, camera attributes. And let's go down right over here under environment. And let's change the background color to be like a light blue. Let's close the attribute editor, render it one more time. So you can see it's a nice light blue, so we can see this much better. Let's go back to our Hypershade at this time and apply the noise in this case to the diffuse channel, because I do want to make sure that I have the color channel if I double click on the Phong. And I'm just going to simply rename this. So right click, rename, and let's call this T12. Okay. So I'm going to take the color and use one of my stock colors over here, maybe slightly different. And I'm going to simply take this noise and middle mouse button drag and drop it on the diffuse. And at this time, I want to render this. Not much of a difference right now. And we can also do IPR right from here, or you could also load it right over here. So I'll just do an IPR. And there you go, the IPR is nicely updating. Let's go back to our Hypershade. Let's give some room. Let's double click on the noise in this case, and let's play around with some of the noise settings. So I'm going to have the threshold to about right there. And I'm seeing the changes right over here in the IPR. I'm going to take the amplitude and take it slightly down, and you can see the IPR is kind of adjusting itself. It's immediately updating. I'm also going to take the frequency ratio slightly up And I'm watching over here as I'm doing this. I'm not doing that just blindly. So a decent frequency ratio. Also, let's see what else we can do. I like the time, the frequency is fine. Noise type is at billow. And right now I'm going to take this exact shader right here, or this exact noise texture, and I'm going to apply it to the bump channel. So let's see, once we do that, what we get. So let's see if anything else I want to change. Actually, I'm pretty okay with what I'm seeing right here. The density is fine. Noise type is at billow. We can try to change this to Perlin noise just to see what it does. Wavy. And we have wispy and so on. So I'm just going to keep it at billow right now. And let's go back to our hypershade and simply take this noise right over here and apply it to middle mouse button, drag and drop on the bump. And right now you can see it's going to be really, really bumpy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the bump and take the bump value, the bump depth, I'm sorry, really down to like a -0.2. And that's still not giving me what I want, so take it to a -0.02. And now I'm going to go back to that noise and go to its 2D texture node. Double click on that, and its attributes open up. And I'm going to say repeat UNV maybe 10 by 10 in this case. And now you can see that we're getting a totally different result. So, which can come across as, you know, the bone is kind of degenerated in some places right here, and it's kind of okay over here, and it's not okay again in some places. One more way you could do this is you could select just some of the faces and you could UV them or UV texture them by going to the UV texture editor, and you could probably apply like in this for a model like this you could use cylindrical mapping or spectral mapping, and you could use some of the other areas of the model and select those faces and apply a cylindrical or a planar map and UV those out as well, and use 2 different or 3 different materials on this to make it really, really look very different. But right now I'm simply using just the noise over here, and I can do a lot more things right now. I can offset. I'm holding down Control. It's a nice little shortcut way of doing this in Maya. I'm offsetting that map. This is my U area, which is X, and this is Y, and I can offset this, and you can see that I can show a lot of different areas being really, you know, brittle in some places right here and kind of over here, and this is okay. So again, I would, if I was doing this for a simple object like this, one map is probably okay, but if it was a lot of bones and if I didn't want to show the exact same texture on all of them, I would select multiple faces on them, at least 2 different sets of faces, and then apply and UV them in the UV texture editor and apply 2 different noise or maybe fractals on the diffuse channel and change the color in the color channel.